Hey guys, it's Helen. Wait, I feel like we need something to hold this microphone, maybe. Just maybe. It is really so hot today. It's excruciating. Hey guys, and welcome to this month's reading wrap up. I am so excited to be here again with you guys. As you can see by the weather outside and by the lighting in the room, the weather is crazy good. A bit too good in my opinion because I am literally so hot. I am dying. Obviously, I'm not forgetting the tradition. I've got my little matcha right here. Like, so yummy. And obviously, I have a bottle of water because the weather is just crazy. I cannot not have water, so I obviously have water with me as well. But I'm so excited to be here for this month's reading wrap up. I actually didn't really do reading wrap up last month because I hadn't read that many books and I honestly felt so overwhelmed by anything regarding school. So I hadn't done a reading wrap up. But I am super excited to be here today for this month's reading wrap up because this month was a really good month in terms of reading. So let's get started right away. If you guys have seen my Make TBR video, which you can see on my Instagram, I finally opened a bookish Instagram. I'm so happy about it. I made a little TBR video there, but I actually started Onyx Storm reread at the end of April. I had reread Fourth Wing during the month of April. So I started my Onyx Storm reread, and I actually enjoyed it more than the first time around. The first time I read it, it was like a beach read, and I kind of tried to run through it in a way because it was like, how can I explain this? I just spent my days reading, but I felt like the book was a tiny bit lengthy, or at least I didn't enjoy it as much as I would have wanted to. But this time around, taking my time reading it and all that, I definitely enjoyed it more. The first time I read it, I also had gotten spoiled the ending. Obviously, this time I already knew what the ending was, but nonetheless, I still enjoyed it a lot. And I had rated it a 4.25 the first time, and I rated it a 4.5 this time. I'm really excited to see where the story goes, and I really love how we really expand the world building in that book and get to know so many new characters. I find that just like so fun. I'm sorry I keep touching my hair. It probably must be unbearable for you guys to watch. So I reread Iron Flame and I really enjoyed it. So yes, I actually think I'm just gonna hold this like this. And then the next book I read was a book on my physical TBR. It's La Révolte de la Reine by Morgane Maucomble. So it's a French book. I rarely, rarely, very rarely read in French simply because I'm not that comfortable with it. I used to read in French a bit more when I was younger, but very quickly when I started reading like actual books, like more long, lengthy books, I just read them in English, honestly. And I do not read in French unless it's French authors and unless I'm really intrigued by the book. But I had heard a lot of good things about this book, and it's a historical romance. And like, ooh, you know me, I kind of like a historical fiction, historical romance as well. So yeah, so I can't remember exactly how much I rated it, but it's probably written somewhere on the screen here. But I was so excited for this book, and I read the first 300 pages in one go. This is a pretty fat book. Like, I would say it's around 600, 550, 60-ish pages. So a big book, honestly, for romance. And long romance book can be like, it's a double-edged knife, double-edged sword. I don't know what's the expression again. It can either be really good, but it can also get a bit too lengthy because I feel like 600 pages simply for romance. Obviously, this happens in 1788 in Versailles, so around the French Revolutions. And the author tried to like do the romance in this setting, but also, it's like our characters is the king and the queen. So she had to obviously make it in a way that they were a bit more enlightened and aware of societal issues, etc. Anyways, not something I feel it was something that I enjoyed. I feel like it needed to be done. We can't have like a queen and a king who like don't care that their people are dying and that being our main characters and for us to root for them. I feel like that would be off. So obviously I did like that change. And the first 300 pages were so interesting. The longing, the pining, you guys, was so good. But I'm very sad to report that the second half did not hit it for me. It became kind of cliched, very predictable. And while I do know that this happens during the revolutionary setting, I feel like because they actually admit their feelings and they don't really admit them, but they kind of do admit the feelings very quickly into the book. Or at least it's clear to both of them that they have feelings, but then they I don't know how to explain. There's things happening. Like there wasn't a third act conflict. There was a third act conflict, a fourth act conflict, and a fifth act conflict. There was too many conflicts that didn't always make sense in my opinion. Like I felt like they were kind of like miscommunication trope, and I hate the miscommunication trope. I don't know. I was just like, I love the first part of it. I would have enjoyed it even more if I felt like the relationship took slower and there was more longing. I did also kind of like the whole aspect of like there was a bit of plotting and planning a revolution. But the biggest plot twist, I didn't see the point in that, honestly. Spoiler alert, the one where we learn her true identity, I didn't see why it was that important for us to learn that she wasn't truly a queen. Like, I don't see how much it adds to the story. And honestly, I could have done without. And I felt kind of disappointed in a way. I don't know. I had mixed feelings about it. So first half, enjoyed it so much. In second half, it's just that I felt like we drifted away a bit from the romance. And it's not something that I mind when it's not a romance, but when it's a romance, I do expect still for the main plot to be around the romance. And, if I wanted to read about something else, I would go read historical fiction, which I do enjoy. But I was like so into the pining and the longing that the sudden kind of switch in theme and in mood kind of took me out a bit. And I wasn't as hyped about it. And I was starting to get a tiny bit frustrated with our characters. But the first half was really close to a 5 stars for me, just gradually kind of went down, which is a very sad thing to say, but it is what it is. So, and the next book I read was a book I was so excited for. I finally read Direbound by Sable Sorensen. Also, this edition of Direbound is stunning. It has an illustration inside. I really want to buy the same for Furybound, but you guys, I just finally got off the waiting list for the Fairy Loot subscription, and I have the combo Fairy Loot. I'm about to get so many physical copies of book. I cannot keep going. But stunning edition. So I feel like I didn't even talk about that much about the plot of the other book, but I feel like it's a romance. But Direbound, I was so excited for this. And honestly, I can see now why people say that if you like Fourth Wing, you will enjoy this book. Because there's the whole animal bonding aspect of it that was like really nice. Like the animal chooses you, they need to be respected, all those vibes from Fourth Wing. But this is not like Fourth Wing. But if you like the bonding aspect of Fourth Wing, you can check Direbound. And I don't want to say I preferred it to Fourth Wing. No, I did not. This first book, maybe not, but I think this series has a potential. The series has a big potential for me. But we follow our main girl. Her sister got kidnapped by those kind of like vampires, and she wants to join the army to save her. But she ends up joining the army at the same time, where all the people who join the army have to go through like these trials to be bonded with a wolf. So if you don't get bonded with a wolf and survive, you just join the regular army. If you get bonded with a wolf, then you become a bonded, like you become they have a name, I just forgot about it. So our main girl, she's like, I don't want to be bonded by a wolf, because after you get bonded by the wolf, there's so many other trials and you have to survive and kind of okay, everyone dies. And she just wants to be sent to the front so she can get closer to getting her sister back. So yeah, but she kept hearing that apparently if you just don't want to bond with a wolf, you say, I don't want to bond with them, and you will survive. Turns out she's bonded with a wolf and she's like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. And there's also a romance. This was such a page turner. I could not put it down. I think I read it in like 2 days. So good. And I know this is going to be a really good series. I don't know how many volumes they're planning on writing, but please make a lot. I'm all here for it. I love the bonding aspect. I love the wolf vibe. Yeah, I really like it. I like how we have different divisions of the wolves. and I like a main male character. Yeah, I liked him a lot. Now let's enter. But why? I think why didn't I give it a higher rating? I didn't give it a higher rating because I did find one of the plot twists predictable, or at least I predicted it. So I was like, oof. And I feel like there was a lot of things that I kind of had an idea of where it was going with time. I didn't have everything 100% figured out, but I had a pretty good idea. But which is nice because you guys know I've talked about this in another reading wrap up, but I don't like it when there's a plot twist at the end and there were no hints. Because I'm not saying, obviously, guessing every single plot twist of the book, not a vibe. That means it's too predictable. But not having any hints as to what is going on, not fun either, Like, then it feels like it's kind of something that was just brought out of nowhere for the shock effect, which I think is not that fun, in my opinion. I have been talking in emptiness for the past 20 minutes. It didn't film anything. It stopped filming at Diarbound. I talk about 5 books in between. I can't even remember what I said, but I was talking about Diarbound, saying that longing between the two main characters was really nice, and so I felt like I got to enjoy this book more. I'm sorry, the description of these book might not be as detailed since I have literally just been doing that for the past 20 minutes, and now I have to go again and do this again. I remember how much I said, so I will re-say this again. I did guess that Killian was sus and that he was probably closer to the kingdom and all that. So there's that aspect, but nonetheless, I still had a really fun time, and I'm really excited to see where the book two goes because I feel like we're gonna get to see more of our MMC and our FMC, and yeah, and I think if you want a description of like how the romance evolves, I would say it's at a similar pace as Akatar. So yes. After that, I reread the three first book in the Windy City series. I reread Mahai, The Right Move, and Caught Up. Oh my god, I just love this series so much. If you don't know, this is my favorite. I mean, one of my favorite romance interconnected series. It is a sports romance interconnected series. Our first main characters, it's a friends to benefits kind of workplace, friends to benefits to lovers, and it's around hockey. Second, it's like forced proximity, fake dating. I love the fake dating trope. And also like best friend's brother um trope, and it's around basketball. Third one is first proximity, kind of she's a nanny, and it's baseball. And fourth one, which I'm currently reading and 60% through, is a fake marriage. But anyways, I love these books so much. I gave Mahai 4.5. The Right Move is a 6 stars for me, and Caught Up is a 5 stars for me. Caught Up, I higher up the rating because I enjoyed it more than the first time I read it. And hold is wondering, while Mahai has a bit more of a lower rating, I love Evie and Xanders. They have my whole heart. I love Xanders so much. He's so funny. I said Evie, Stevie, sorry. I love Stevie so much as well. She's such an angel. I think she's such a person with like a sweet soul, and I relate to a lot of those that she have. And I just also love how much Xanders is. I just who he is, but as you guys may know, I'm not the biggest fan of the friends with benefits to lovers. That's just a trope personally I don't enjoy. So as much as I love Stevie and Xanders, like really, I love them so much. I wasn't as big of a fan of their romance stories since I'm not the biggest fan of that plot. But honestly, Indy and Ryan. I think Indy and Ryan's book just hits hard for me because I just relate so much to Indy in so many aspects of who she is and of her character. I relate a lot to her character. I don't know why. But yeah, I always thought that if there was a female main character in the series that I relate to the most and that I saw myself in the most was her. I don't know, the way she feels, her attitude towards life, and a lot of her actions, I just relate to her a lot. And I just love their romance stories as well. And it just makes me cry so much because in a way I feel so seen. So yes, and Caught Up, like I said, I gave it a higher rating. It really pulled at my heartstrings. Malachi, the man you are. I can't tell you if I prefer Malachi or Ryan Shea. It's a close one. It's different vibes. It's different vibes. But I just love this. I love how we really have a different environment, and I just loved it. I just loved it. I think one of my favorite thing about this series is the found family. I think this is the series with the most well-made found family trope out there, in my opinion. It's just amazing. I just love it. The found family is just so good. Obviously, I cried as well while reading Caught Up, while reading The Right Move, while reading Play Along. I just love this series. I think it's honestly stunning. If you like interconnected series, please read it. And the reason why I'm finally reading this whole series is so I can finally read in her own league. I had pre-ordered it for when it would come out, sorry. But I was in exam season and I was so busy with school, and I really wanted to reread the series since it's been maybe 3 years since I haven't reread it. So I really wanted to do that, and I'm so glad I'm rereading it. I'm loving it so much. Loving this reread. Then I finally read the very anticipated Starside. I bought this book as a gift to myself, like post exams, and I was so excited to read it. And safe to say, it did not disappoint because this was a 5-star for me. I talk a bit more about my feelings and how I went reading it in my reading vlog, which will come out after this video. It was supposed to be a 24-hour reading vlog, by the way, guys, and I never managed to do 24 hours, but it was just a very cozy, spending my whole weekend reading kind of vlog. But so in this book, we follow a world that is divided into two, Starside and Stormside. Starside is where live the immortals and the gods, and Stormside is kind of where live the mortals and people who honestly are just suffering from drought and not drought, from dryness. And yeah, and so our main girl, she has one goal is vengeance. So every 50 years, there's this event called the Questral that happens. Um, Everyone can try and participate, and then I think there's 50 people who, after going through a bunch of small trials, the first 50 people who, after surviving those trials, can manage to pass the gate when it's open towards Starside. They get to continue their quest in Starside. Obviously, over there, it's a world that's dangerous. There's immortals, there's lots of different creatures, and their whole journey towards Starside is to reach the land of the gods, meet the gods, and then get a little goblet of magic, I guess. And there's not a limited amount of the goblet as long as you survive and you get the goblet. So some people often bring it back to Stormside so that the population can still manage to live and have a bit of food or water for the next 50 years thanks to this magic. Some people drink a bit of it and then use the rest of it like that. And you can try and drink the cup fully, which will make you immortal, but that doesn't always work. So you might end up something else. But our main girl, she doesn't care about any of that. She just wants to go there and to avenge what she went through because she blames the gods for what she and her family went through. So she wants to go there and kill the gods. Yep. But to survive on this quest, she's gonna have to ally herself, form an alliance, sorry, with her worst enemy. And the enemy's lover was enemy. The enemy's lover was it was working. I don't know if the reason was enough to be enemies. I think it's pretty decent reason. But the fact that they just barely like they can barely bear each other. You know, they're together, but they're like, I don't want to be with you. Just know I'm doing this because I feel obliged to. But the longing, the tension, not the longing, more like the tension was so good. And I love this quest aspect, like getting to discover the world, the different creatures, and all that, and ending. Alex asked her, we need to have a talk. We need to have a talk about this ending because what I did semi guess a few plot twists, like semi, not 100%, but I had like a hunch. But what the? I was speechless. Literally, my heart dropped. I had to sit and stare at the wall for like a good 10 minutes when I finished this book. I need book two right now. I think it's coming out this year around fall. Hopefully it's this fall and not next fall. But so excited, and I'm so excited to see where the next book goes. And apparently in the next book we're also going to get to dive a bit more into our female main character's friendship, which I'm really excited to see. But I really enjoyed this book. 5 stars. It was so fluid. I felt like, it was just so easy to read, and the ending really got me. It got me a bit too much. in my opinion. I'm not okay. I will seek therapy for this ending. I love this song. Honestly, I obviously had high hopes for it. I was really hyped up, but it definitely met my expectation or actually exceeded that because I thought it was going to be like a 4.5, 4.75. Stunning. Stunning, stunning, stunning. You must read it if you haven't, you guys. Please. I swear. Please read it. And finally, we finished the month with my final read of Onyx Storm. Finally, your girl has been reading Fourth Wing and the Imperial Cities since like over a year, but I needed a big break after I read Iron Flame for the first time. Because I reread the books, like I told you guys, and I finally read Iron Onyx Storm. But here's the issue. I actually had gotten spoiled, and I thought that what I had gotten spoiled was, oh, this is some okay spoilers. No, it was the biggest plot twist. So if you guys haven't read Onyx Storm, or and you plan to read it, then skip ahead. So the plot twist that I had gotten was that Indarna was leaving. You know what? That's pretty important. That Xaden and Violet would get married, and that Imogen had to wipe her memory off. So pretty much the biggest spoilers. So I felt like I did enjoy this book more than the first time I read Iron Flame. I felt like this book was easier to go through. I really enjoyed. I did not expect the questy aspect of it and of getting to explore the other parts of the map. But I'm really glad we got to explore the other islands and seeing how the population were. And I feel like we really got to deep dive a bit more into the gods' Olympus, if I could say that, and the relationship each island has with the gods, and understand a bit more the deity system in this world. I felt like that was really interesting. I think because I knew the plot twist, what I enjoyed the most in this whole book was all the little extra information we got about the gods and also about Violet's hair and her consecration and all that, allowing us to, I can feel that it's simmering to something good. I can see, I really like that part. The Venons, okay, but I like that part more, honestly. If you guys know me, I love a good old god system, and I love when we discover our main girl isn't more important. You know, the chosen one trope. I gotta say, I'm a sucker for the chosen one trope. I'm sorry, it's basic, but I love it. And I'm really excited to see in what consists this chosen one trope because I can feel it simmering. They're saying that it's just a consecration. No, there's more to it. I'm still thinking about that Taryn quote which says, I know exactly who and what you are, Violet Torncow. I know. Now let's talk about Taryn for a minute. He's sus as well. He's sus. I need to talk about two quotes, and I've been loving seeing, like, watching the theories videos on TikTok. I feel like that's my favorite part of this book, as you can see, is all the little extra informations we got, allowing us to build more theories around this book series. I feel like that's what I enjoyed the most, since I didn't get the shock aspect of the ending. But the theory that Taryn is actually Malik, I can see that. Because between the comment Jack made to Violet saying that she bonded to demons, I don't think she meant Indarna and Taryn. I think she meant Taryn and Xaden. Because technically she's bonded to Xaden as well. And then the most sus quote is when she's to the island, you know, where they like worship Dune. And the priestess tells her, like, oh, like, you didn't follow Dune, but maybe you're following like another god now. And she looks at Taryn. This is sus. And I've seen someone else deep diving into this theory. And you know what? I low-key buy it. I agree with this. The theory also that Violet is like a reincarnation of Dune. I can see that as well. I think that's the aspect that I really enjoyed in Onyx Storm. Really, the getting to know more about this world outside of the Venons, the dragons, and Bascath. I feel like that was really nice, and getting to know a bit more also about Violet's father. Um, I was kind of pained about how Mira's and Violet's relationship evolved. I feel like that kind of saddened me, but you know, which obviously towards the end it gets kind of fixed. Um, I'm really excited for book four because obviously when book four comes out, I will not have seen any spoilers since it is not out. So I'll be able to maybe be a bit more surprised and read as a normal reader experience. Even the novella, I am wondering what the novella will be about. But in any means, this is the end of this video. Please let me know, what did you guys read this month and enjoyed? and subscribe and like, and I'll see you guys in the next video.